to order. Thank you, Shanda. So welcome everybody to the June 21st meeting of the HPC, first day of summer. So glad everybody can be here with us today. The first item on the agenda that we have today is the consent agenda from the May 17th meeting. Do we hear a motion to approve as? Great. All those in favor? We'll show that the consent agenda can be logged in as approved, and we can immediately launch into new business. When we call your property forward, if you would please, you can approach the, Victoria, is there any rules or regulations about how we're handling the meeting? Everyone can step right up to the podium in the front? Perfect.
Podium as long as it asks for their address and
Excellent.
proceed like normal.
Normal. Okay, perfect. So if we call your address forward, if you would please come up to the front, state your name and address for the record, and then provide us with a little information regarding your certificate of appropriateness, and we'll discuss from there. So the first up we have is 2940 Rivermont Avenue. Is there a representative from 2940 Rivermont Avenue? Not yet. So we'll give them a little bit of time. I know that downtown can be difficult to navigate at the moment, but we'll come back to that one if need be later on. Next up, we have 1301 Madison Street. Please, sir.
Hello, I'm William Watson for 1301 Madison Street.
Thank you.
I'm here today because we are trying to replace a light fixture. It is a indoor rated light fixture in a wet location, not meeting UL standards, is degraded to a point of being unsafe, and we would like to replace it. That's the light fixture that we have picked out. It does appear to meet the guidelines that we've been able to find as far as size and not being obtrusive or anything like that. And that's about it. It's currently that. The fixture there is rusting and not in very good condition. The wire is inappropriate for its current installation, and generally is just kind of unsafe. It's not correctly installed. It's just not done properly.
Understood. Great. Well, we appreciate that information. Any commissioners like to make a motion on this COA as it's submitted?
I move approval.
I'll second.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion, questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, we can call for a vote. All those in favor
Aye.
of approval?
Aye.
Aye. Hearing none opposed, you are good to go. Thank you so much. We appreciate the information. Very clear and concise.
Am I free to go with that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Have a great day. No, we must stay.
Okay, next up we have 2301 Rivermont Avenue. Hello there.
Hi, I'm Sarah Brody, 2301 Rivermont.
Well, good to have you here.
Thank you. We are requesting to add a set of stairs to the side porch. There's currently a set of stairs facing the front of the house, and we would just like to add a set of the same stairs, same design, same materials, everything to the back end of the house, because that porch is where our outdoor dining is, and if our grill's at the bottom of that porch, it seems a little tedious to carry it all inside, walk all through the house just to take it to the side porch, when it just would be a better flow to have some stairs to the back end of the house. And, you know, as I said, same design, same materials, same everything that is currently on the front.
Any commissioners like to make a motion?
I was looking at the picture a moment ago. We've got an HVAC unit sitting there.
Yes, that'll have to be moved to the side just a
okay,
little
you're
bit,
okay
yeah.
with that.
It's a little bit too close,
Okay,
unfortunately.
yeah.
And the gas meter, that's not in the way?
The gas meter needs to be moved. They were supposed to come get it. We don't currently have any gas.
Oh.
I don't know why it's there. we keep asking them to come get it.
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
Is there a second?
A second.
With relocating that condenser unit, is it just moving further down the wall?
Further down, yeah, further, yeah. There's a little recess, you can't really see it, but there's a little place to put it.
Okay, great. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, we can call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. I don't hear any opposed, so we're good there as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, next up is 317 Norwood Street.
Good afternoon. Is it Chairman McSwain and
Yes,
members
ma'am.
of the Historic District Preservation Commission? I'm Susannah Smith. I'm actually a career public planner and a former member of the Historic District Commission of Little Washington, Virginia. So I feel like I'm among friends. Historic preservation has been very important to me in my life and my past, and I am really thrilled to be coming before you to discuss our plans to add shade and a picnic pavilion type shelter to the Daniels Hill Park at the neighborhood center there on the corner of D Street and I guess it's actually D Street and honestly can't remember what the front street is there. Can you help me with that?
Cabell.
It is Cabell Street on the front. See, I'm not from Lynchburg, unfortunately. I just moved here last year. But anyway, so we went through a design process for this because we wanted to include some shade out under, under what there were trees there, and we understood from AEP they were going to have to come and remove most, if not all of them, which they did. And so we have a pad out there right now with some forlorn-looking picnic tables that, honestly, I wouldn't use, and not many of the neighborhood or the users there like to use either. And so we invited Bill Allen, of course, of I think it's Virginia A&E, into the process so he could guide us on what was practical, as well as, and as we talked, we thought, what we really want is we want a lovely design that will not only fit in with the neighborhood, that we can actually use as a prototype for picnic shelters through all of our parks. And so that's why I'm here. We are very open to consulting with you if you feel like, maybe this or that might work better, but we really have tried to look at the neighborhood, look at the actual building that's there, which I guess is now entering its historic phase because it was built like in the 70s. We tried to somewhat mimic the roof as much as was practical, but we also want to make the shelter easy to ventilate. And so that's why we had the open gable ends where I'm going to install a fan in the ceiling there to try to keep the heat pulled up and out. Since there literally are no trees there, we're going to have to try to use some mechanical means of keeping the area cool. Of course, we'd like to mimic the materials that were used, at least as far as colors go. We're not actually planning to use brick. We were open to maybe wrapping the columns with some type of stone. We looked around. There are some columns with stone right there in the neighborhood. That's sort of what we thought we might want to do. But to keep it a natural color, in browns and taupes, maybe some grays, it was our thought. And so you have before you the plans. These are draft plans for comment. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you feel like we need to take another look, but I'm happy to answer any questions about materials, about the design itself for this pavilion.
Great.
These two different options on those elevations?
The elevations there, let me see, I better take my glasses off so I can see what I'm looking at. So one
Side
is,
and
the
front.
one on the far right is the gable end. It has an opening at the top, okay, and you can the gable itself, yeah, it's very, very slim, the wall there. We are thinking of some type of standing seam metal for the roof material. With this particular one, we would like room for 4 tables, and then there'll be an apron on the outside to place the grill that's already there. And, like I said, it's very simple, but we're going for simple but elegant. It's kind of what we were thinking.
Anyone like to make a motion based on as it's submitted?
Well, I will.
Was that an approval, motion for approval?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
Raise it.
Yeah. Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Anyone have any questions or comments?
I guess my one question, Victoria, would they have to come back for administrative approval on the color of the roof and other materials?
So I think we are trying to match the color of the building, so it would be a brown. The supports, the poles, we were trying to match, I believe it was the doors and the mortar, which actually the door that's out there now does match the mortar. Even though, again, it wasn't really historic, but it's sort of getting to be historic. It's hard for me to think of 1970s buildings as historic because, those are the buildings I grew up in. But anyway, have to deal with that. But yeah, we were trying to keep with like a taupey beige color for the upright supports and then the browns that are on the building itself for the roof and any possible stone cladding that we may or may not do. So I guess what I'm asking for is the poles could hopefully be approved with or without the stone cladding. Or it's up to you. If you want to only approve it with the stone cladding, then obviously we will do that. But we're still just kind of out to lunch as to whether or not we really want to do that or not. I really want to know how it's going to look myself. I'm not sure.
It appears that, could you go back to that elevation? Maybe kind of blow that thing up a little bit?
That might be helpful, yeah.
It looks like the base of those, is that it looks like a 6x6 post or something like that with
Yes.
some sort of a base. Is that base stone? Is it brick?
Yes. It wasn't going to be brick. It was going to be like a sandstone type, but colored to match the brick.
Okay, see
Because
there
again,
it looks like
it does kind of look like brick. We were trying to go for something, again, that we could use at all of our parks. And stone seems to be more prevalent than brick,
Well, I mean,
in
I
our
think
parks,
you could
so.
change it based on whatever the
We
current
could.
condition. Now,
I mean-
this one here, I don't know if there's any stone there. Obviously, the building is brick.
True.
So
The
you-
building across the street does have, I think it's a shelter it's like a small pavilion or something that actually has the stone cladding that we like. We're like, oh, that would be really nice over here.
Which building
That's where
is
the stone was. It is the bed and breakfast that's across the street on the corner there. There's a building in the backyard there that has some stone work that we actually were inspired by. And I wish I'd gotten pictures. I did not. If you all feel very strongly that you think this should be brick at the base, you're not going to make me cry. I'll be honest with
What
you.
is, it's pointing, there's something written that's pointing to the post. What does that say? I can't see.
I can't read it.
This is cast stone cap brick.
Yeah, the caps, again, we're going to match
That.
the,
No, not that, the one on the
He's on
left.
the other one.
Yeah, that one.
right.
A what?
Steel column.
Okay.
It's steel, but it would be painted to match the mortar and the door of the building, the neighborhood center there. So it'd be a light color.
Are all the neighborhood centers kind of in the same color theme and kind of in the same?
Yeah, like Jefferson Park and, what is the one, Fairview are very similar to this building. The other ones aren't really though, College Hill, not quite the same. They're all kind of the same vintage. Diamond Hill is very different. So that's why, I think actually we might have another one or two that are in historic districts, so we will be happy to come back, obviously. I'm not asking for a blanket approval for any of the other ones that might be in a historic district. I'm just asking for some conversation about this one, and if you feel confident you can approve it the way that we've submitted, great, I'll be very happy. But I don't have a problem coming back and speaking with you all again about anything, to be honest. I really don't.
Is your preference, I know how it shows the brick as your preference stone then throughout all of them at this?
We all did rather the stone, we did, although, like I said, that building itself is brick. It's quite a distance away from brick, yeah, I mean, it's at the complete other end of the parcel, you know? So, I mean, really, we could go either way. We really could.
So right now, there's a motion that's been seconded to approve as submitted. We can continue with this and vote on this. If you want to do a conditional approval to allow stone, then this motion on the table would have to fail, and then a new motion to allow this and/or stone. Or if you change what's submitted, you can always come back with your new submitted plans and review that.
So are you trying to get an approval on this for all the parks?
No, only for Daniels Hill. This is only for this location at Daniels Hill, which is the Cabell Street side of the parcel. It's near to the fence. It's in the location where there are currently unsheltered picnic tables. But we would be expanding that area, because I think there's only 2 tables, so we'd be expanding that area to 4, okay, and then moving the grill, which would be a little bit outside. So,
So we already have a motion to approve, is that what you?
And I think this is fine for Daniels Hill. I think you could also put the stone if you would show us what the stone looks like.
okay, so if we decide to go with stone rather than as it's shown, I'm happy to come back.
Yeah, so
I'm
we
happy to
can,
come
so
back.
she's already asked for approval on this with the brick, so I think that's fine, and I'll second that.
It's already been seconded.
Oh, sorry.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? No, hearing none, we can call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you
I don't
very
think there are
much.
any opposed. Thank you so much. We appreciate the
Thank you very
information.
much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Victoria.
All right. Let's see. Next up, 1518 14th Street.
Good afternoon.
Hello there.
I know you.
Nice to see you,
I know
Mr. Moore.
you. Oh, quite a few people here. My name is Kelvin Moore, and I reside at 616 Court Street, and I'm representing the homeowner at this location here. And basically what we want to do is renovate a vacant house to make it livable again. We have some interior improvements, mainly with kitchen and bathroom improvements and that kind of thing, and some exterior improvements. We do have some demolition that needs to happen. That front porch, if any of you guys walked out there and saw that front porch, there's nothing you can do but just tear it down. And the thing with that front porch is that they had hip roofs going on the ends, but they also had the hip roof coming back to the center and going toward hidden gutters. Well, those two things, those two combinations right there, you're going to have some water issues. Inevitably, so that's what happened. So what we're recommending to do is just go back with a simple hip roof that's straight across the facade there, and that will eliminate all the water issues that we have. So we have that demolition and build back. What we're just proposing to do is put a new roof. We'll recommend that it be a standing seam metal roof, wood columns, and the porch is so low to the ground, it's only like 6 inches above the ground. We don't need any railings or pickets or anything like that. So we're just gonna have columns and a new metal roof there. Some other demolition that the client is looking to do is to replace the front walk there and maybe put it back with some brick. And removing the fencing that's around the property, including the landscaping and hedging, things like that. And removing the rear single car garage in the back there. And the other exterior things that we're doing is looking at putting a deck off the kitchen on the main level, and also a deck at the roof level on the second floor that's going off that addition, which will primarily be above the kitchen area. And we know that we may have to come back with some paint colors and things like that to make sure that we're adhering to all the regulations and that kind of thing. Because right now we don't have any of those stain colors selected or roofing selected, any colors like that selected. We wanted to get beyond this point first before we went any further with anything. So that's what we're planning on doing. The owner is out of town, is very excited about this project, and so if you guys have any questions, feel free. Even though this is the longest day of the year, I'm trying to keep it short.
Are you gonna also remove the metal canopy?
Oh, yes, all that goes away, yes,
That's
yeah.
probably the only thing in
Yeah.
the historic district I would ask to be removed.
Yeah, the owner had some questions about that, but about the western sun and things like that. It's the sunset. You do get that, but the awning is gone. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of those things.
You mentioned on the sidewalk that you wanted to remove it and replace it with maybe brick.
Yeah.
Is that for certain, or you're not sure?
I'm not sure. I
Well, then I don't
thought it
know.
was brick. I thought he wanted to put back brick, but it just might be concrete.
Okay. It's hard to know what I'm approving if it's a maybe, is why I'm asking, right?
Yeah. Well, you tell me what you approve and we'll do it.
Okay.
So I got one of my clients. They're redesigning stuff all the time, and we've got a big old committee, and they like to do stuff. They're proactive and stuff, and sometimes they beat me to the punch, So when you go out to the project site and you see a new wall here, and it messes with the egress, and I'm like, what's going on, people? Then I got to confirm that with the code, and but anyway, as it turns out, a lot of times it is code compliant, but. Instead of me drawing, I always tell them, you build it and I'll draw it. We'll get it approved. That's just how fast it is. So yeah, if you can tell me what material to use, we will.
So
Victoria, hold right there.
on the garage, do you know if the age of the garage, is it the same age as the house?
So we looked at the survey for the Pierce Street Renaissance District and found that the house was included in the historic district, but the garage was a non-contributing
Was not.
building.
Right.
I don't have the age, but we do have that.
So at
fact.
one time, was that a separate lot maybe?
I don't know.
Thank you. So and then the rear of the house, you said you were gonna do something? Are you doing anything to the rear of the house?
The rear of the house, we're just coming off the right side there with a new deck. And of course, we might have some mechanical stuff that we got to relocate and make that happen.
So will the rear deck come out, like how far would that rear deck come out to?
About 10 by 12.
Kevin, I think one of the things Councilman Ariana and I were talking about is probably need to see something on the deck in terms of what the spindles and railing will, handrails will be, to make sure they're, a lot of times we see, just little 2x2 square pickets like you'd see in the suburbs, and, that's typically not appropriate in the historic district. So I don't know if we want to
You can piecemeal this out if you like.
maybe strike number 6 on the item list, which is the decks, to say that they would be needed to have a secondary submittal and approval, and approve the other items. Would that
Yeah,
be?
I would say size-wise, they're probably fine, but you're right as far as the use of materials or material-specific,
Yeah.
absolutely.
In code compliance, all
Yeah.
fun. Getting that one up on the top, making sure it's got a handrail that,
Right.
or a guard.
So, yeah, I anticipate after this stage right here, we'll be finalizing a lot of those things that you're talking about, and even the sidewalk there, we'll finalize that, and then bring it back to you to say, okay, this is the color of the roof, and that kind of thing.
So the commission can do partial approvals. We have that classification and track it now. If there are certain items that you want to approve, and then have you come back for the next meeting with more descriptions, that can be done.
Great.
We could approve the deck, but not necessarily what the materials that he's gonna use on the deck.
Or you can wait until next time and say pending more information. See the what? That list. The list, yes.
Were you set with that one?
For clarification on letter A, sir, it says demolish front porch roof and replaced with a hipped roof. I thought I heard you say demolish front porch.
I'm sorry, it's the roof. It's the,
Just the roof?
It's the porch roof,
Okay,
yeah.
just wanted to be clear.
And what were your thoughts on the sidewalk material?
I don't know that I don't know that I would object to brick or concrete. I just didn't want it to be dirt or, pebble or something else. I wanted to know what I was approving.
The commission can approve a
There's
brick.
both actually in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Concrete and brick.
Michael, you want to do
Commission can
a
approve brick,
specific?
Here, since
Yeah.
that would need a
All right.
HPC COA approval, since it is a change. But since it's currently concrete, I can do that administratively if the owner decides to do it that way.
Okay, thank you. Finally get to see you, Victoria.
Anyone would like to formulate a motion on this?
I move to accept this proposal as submitted in general, in accepting demolishing the front porch roof and replacing that with a hip roof, and demolish the garage, and for the fact that it is not in the historic district, and remove the chain link boundary fence, which is not historic, and keep the sidewalk as is in concrete. If he decides to replace with another material, could be administratively approved, and to approve as submitted I'm sorry, Calvin, what was the size of the deck?
10 by 12.
10 by 12 deck, but to come back to the Historic Preservation Commission for approval of materials.
Bingo. Anyone like to second that?
I'll second that.
All
That was
right.
very well done.
Very good, very good,
Would you like me
indeed.
to read for clarification?
You may, please.
I have item number 1, A, approve as submitted. Item number 2, approve as submitted. Item number C, approve as submitted. Item number D, did you mean to approve for brick, and if they want to do concrete, then it would be administrative?
Concrete as it is, to leave as concrete, but if he decides to change that material, that it would be administratively, would it come back to the Historic Preservation Commission for another material approval?
Okay, so you're saying
Approve as seen, as is in current state.
concrete, okay. And then the last item, you approved the dimensions of the deck, but before they begin construction, they have to come back for materials?
Yes.
Okay.
And design, if I understand, the columns,
Design.
handrails.
Thank you.
Materials, dimensions. All right.
Great. So we have a motion and a second and an explanation or a clarification. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
I have just one question on D, that the sidewalk, so would it not need to be replaced then? Is that what we're saying, unless you're wanting to do brick? Is that?
I believe we've given him permission to remove what's there and replace it with concrete.
concrete.
If he chooses to do another material, he would bring it back with the deck submittal and get it approved.
Thank you.
I do.
Any other comments? Hearing none, we can call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, ready to go. Good luck on that.
Okay, since nobody else is waiting, I got a couple of quick questions. I got a building on 616 Court Street, and in the back, it has a lot of addition that was block, and it's painted white and stuff like that. So I know it wasn't built when the original structure was built, and it's block. And I want to change the color of it, and I want to paint stuff on there. Do I have to come to the HBC to do that?
You can submit a COA, and if it's, if there are colors that correspond with, that's a tricky one. If it's not really contributing, it's an addition, you say? It's an addition, but it was after the fact? just
Yeah,
block?
yeah.
Can it be seen from any street?
Yes, can you see it? From the rear?
No, not really, because it sits up on the hill, and English's parking lot is right here. Then it goes on down to Church Street and stuff like that. If you're over at the tea house, Texas Tavern, you can look across and see it, but you'd have to know what you're looking for.
What do you want to paint on?
Excuse me?
What do you want to?
I want to paint a love symbol on it, and I want to put it in architectural, different materials like a triangle or a T-square or a Michelangelo scale man, proportion man, or something like that.
So that would be something that would either be a sign or it would be a public art project. So go ahead and submit the COA to me so that I have the project and what you're planning to do and the address, and then we'll get in touch with Kevin Henry and other people within the city and get you on the right track.
Okay, because my understanding is you couldn't necessarily put a sign on there, but I could paint an image on there. Is that right?
I think
I
that's
don't-
more zoning, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know that a sign would be excluded, but it would definitely have to be up for review with the city.
Yeah. So I was told basically you could paint anything that you wanted to, but you just couldn't put any type of sign that you wanted to. Because I was wondering, you know, if some of these historic buildings got murals from all different kinds of colors, how does that get approved?
It's a public art project. It's reviewed, looking over, again, to make sure there's nothing graphic or explicit.
Right,
And
right.
also to see, just to ensure that it's not a sign. So that's something within zoning, as Commissioner McSween said.
Okay. All right. So,
You can reach out to me and we'll get you on the right track.
all right, that sounds good.
Any other questions?
That's about the only question that I had for you guys. Appreciate all the work you do.
Excellent, absolutely, thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, we're finally moving on VUL.
Oh, excellent, I'm glad to hear.
Well, you know, you came out there, we did a COA in September, you know, and we went back to the MPS and said, all right, we got everything, you know, locally, we're good.
Right.
This is in September. They tried to make us do something else, which was telling them was technically infeasible and it's cost prohibitive. Went back and forth, back and forth. April, they said it was approved the way that we had originally said it back in September.
Is that right?
And so then they had some more comments in May saying, well, we need to answer this. Well, we answered that in February. So today, we're just now getting approval to move forward with what we said 9 months later. And you know what prices have been doing since
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
And so now we're over budget. So now what are we gonna do? So, but such is life, right?
Oh, it's terrible. I know. Hear that? I know that work needs to happen quickly, so.
Yeah, it does. And we're over there meeting today and, meeting in the building with no air conditioning.
Right.
So it's pretty tough. Okay, kept it short as I could.
Right.
Thank you, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Moore, take care. All right, I don't see that anyone has entered the room for 2940 Rivermont, so if we want to roll that forward.
As with items, you can decide to review it now, or since you don't have the petitioner, you can always hold this until next time. It's up
Okay.
to the commission's decision.
Would anyone like to review it, or do you want to make a motion to push it?
I would move to approve because Victoria said it could be approved. And,
Wait.
that's
It's a,
historic.
Shannon, it's a vinyl window to that.
Yeah.
They're proposing vinyl windows, which are not.
Yes, but it is a non-contributing
It's a non-
structure.
yeah.
The commission should not deny items on non-contributing structures in the district.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I think I'm in the same camp as Commissioner Horner on this one.
Okay. Would you like to second her motion?
Oh, I thought that was to tee it up. Yeah, if that was the motion, I'll
Yep.
I'll gladly second.
All right, any other discussion on that one then? We can call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No? Looks like that one's good to go as well. Perfect. We have wrapped up new business. Old business would be a contractors list update.
All right, we've received a few names. I just wanted to share with you what we have and what we're looking for, because again, it's not, it's better to offer choice to people when we send out this list. So when we have one contractor under one section, such as for, I don't know if that's a good example, but chimneys, which has, that's not right. I think somebody shared with me a chimney thing. But this chandelier one, glass, we only have one. Some we have none. So filling this out and fleshing this out would be a service to the citizens that you're providing this to.
Great.
We have lots of wood carving and woodwork, so that's all good.
So when you say fleshing it, you mean you want us to go in, if we know that a business is no longer in existence, to let you know?
So I've done that. I've gone
Okay.
through and I've looked and saw what was,
Okay.
not to say that I'm faultless. You could probably find somebody that I missed that's on there and they're not in business. But we're looking for names to fill this out.
I see.
So if you know, or if you know anyone who has worked with a certain company, to let me know so that we can put it on here.
Okay.
Are there guidelines in terms of, like, if it's a private contractor versus like a, you know, just someone who does individual work?
Yeah, no guidelines. You can do individuals. Again, there's a pretty clear disclaimer on here saying that we are
Okay.
not approving or it doesn't have our seal of
Endorsing.
approval. We're just saying, here are some names that you can look into. Some people have had positive experiences with them.
Okay.
It's very informal.
Let's see. Well, I guess we can throw this back out there and have everybody, I would encourage everyone to take a look at this list. If you want to email out the most
I will.
current updated list. And I think, what did we ask for last time? 3 from everybody? If anyone can take a look at this list and maybe provide 2 in an unfulfilled category, I know I will try and do my best to get at least maybe more than 2, 1 for each of those, but,
So I may have misunderstood
See.
the ask. I thought we were only to provide something if we could vouch for them, if
Yeah.
you will.
yeah.
I don't have many that I can vouch for. I have
Okay.
a long Rolodex of people that supposedly do the work. They just
Right.
haven't done it for me, so I can't say, thumbs up or thumbs down.
Sure.
If you just want a laundry list of names, I can go there.
Okay.
Well,
If-
preferably you would, even if it's you heard from a friend or you heard from
Right.
a friend from a friend, at least that's something. I believe the past list wasn't just commissioner made, that citizens would contribute to it as well.
Right.
Which is how we have some not recommended ones with people who
Yeah,
experience.
and if you were to say, if you've heard, okay, that company does this work and they may be good, I don't know for sure, maybe a quick, I only submitted people that I know and I've dealt with, but if there was someone, I don't know anyone that does metal work, I might try and do a few minutes of searching online if I can find a name and maybe do Google reviews or something like that, just to see if anyone has had anything positive to say. I'm not necessarily going to throw someone out there that has a bottom of the barrel rating, but maybe a little diligence in that regard too, just to see what we can come up with maybe. But anyway, we'll just ask for another run at this to see if we can flesh out a few of those that don't have anybody listed at this point.
Oh, and my other question with this as well was, do we want to know that they have done work in the historic district, or just generally they do this work and we assume would do?
That's a good point.
Yeah, we would probably prefer someone that has some experience in the historic district, whether you've seen their signs, if they've done work, whether you ask your neighbor, oh, I see you had this work done, how was their experience with them? Or even calling the company direct and say, I see you've done work in historic district, or you're close to historic district. It may have been a historic house, but not in a historic district, so there are a lot of different variables that can be, questioned at that time. Just a quick query, if you will, with that subcontractor.
And I think you should make sure they're licensed before you
Put anything on the list and insured.
That's helpful.
No jacklegs?
Yeah.
So you actually post contractors that you do not recommend also?
City cannot recommend anybody, so this is why we're requesting names from either you or people that you know.
But were you asking if you want to add to that not recommended list? Is that what you were asking?
You just said the city cannot, but we're the city, aren't we?
You are appointed board members from the city council. You are not necessarily city employees, which is what we are. And you are an advisory board, and that's been stressed on the roster sheet that anybody can come to you for advice. This is another form of advice. We also have that disclaimer saying that this is not, let's see, what does it even say? These firms are as a reference only. Listing does not imply or represent recommendation or endorsement by the City of Lynchburg, the Lynchburg Historical Foundation, the Historic Preservation Commission, or its members. It is the responsibility of the property owner to determine suitability and to ensure licensure within city and state guidelines. But this list really is a helpful jumping point for people that move to the area who haven't had experience with historic district homes before, and that can be overwhelming to even go online and try to find these things. So at least having something in front of you is it's helpful.
It can be overwhelming if you've been here for 15 years.
Yes, it can.
So in addition to the recommend, if he has one he wants to add to the do not recommend? is he
Yes,
able
we
to do
take
that?
those as well. Not surprisingly, a lot of the ones on the old not recommended list were out of business.
Anyone else have anything to add to that discussion? No, then we can move on. It's no surprise that we are going to honor Commissioner Morris for his 9 intense years of service on the commission. And Rick, I think I kind of speak for everybody, but we really have appreciated your professionalism and your steadfast belief that folks who get involved in working on these homes should be doing it to the absolute best of their ability, or the people who they've called upon to do work on their homes. And you do a very good job of holding everyone to account for that. And I certainly appreciate your knowledge, your candor, your honesty as we've gone through the years together. So we really do appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Second that one.
Keep on those windows.
Yeah.
And the porch railings.
Right, right.
I wouldn't have had gone there if I didn't have.
Yeah.
And Rick, we've got a little gift here for you from the crew. So we really appreciate your work as always, and we look forward to seeing you around town for sure.
How much money's in here?
It's plenty.
Enough
plenty.
to get that car you were talking about.
It's back pay.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we can go ahead and call the meeting adjourned. Next is July 19th, and hopefully maybe we'll be in here in the other room. Who knows?
We'll be in here
We'll
for
see.
the next couple of months
Okay.
until we figure things out, and then maybe second floor training room. If you, as a commission, prefer this room, maybe here. We'll see going forward what happens.
Sounds great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Is this your last meeting as well?
I have one more.
One more. Okay, perfect. Well, we'll celebrate you next time. Thank you all very much.